What's up, guys? We might have to add a new fucking highlight to the end of that reel. We might.
Just might have to. Got a recent one in the books.
Crazy. We will definitely talk about that. Dave Van Auken joined the Savage Robertson. Our UFC records just kept on escalating a couple weeks ago. It's been crazy. We haven't really done the podcast or sit down like this, but we had a really cool IG live afterwards. And then a hurricane came through. So we're back. It feels good. So first of all, what's everything good? Those 10 days, I always hear those 10 days after a fight, even a great win is still sometimes like kind of hard to like deal with and get back to real life. How have you been the last couple of weeks?
I guess getting back into it, the first week after was a little, I was still in Vegas watching another one of my teammates fight on the Contender Series. So we were out. Yeah, we were out there for a little bit, and then I went out to Zion for a couple days as well. So just made a little vacation of it being out there. It's I think like 2 hours to Utah, so just drove up there and stayed out literally in the middle of nowhere for a couple days. So that was absolutely dope. And last week was my first week really back to training. I always put myself on the schedule on my first week back. I'm like, I want to train when I want. Because I always want to train the first week back, but I'm not trying to push myself. If I wake up in the morning and there's a training session and I'm like, I really don't feel like doing this today, then I skip it. But I'm like, that doesn't happen often for me. So at least once a day I was in there last week.
There you go.
This week we're back to regular schedule, getting back into it. It's just dealing with little injuries. And I feel like more and more pop up the more you get back into it. It's like, you feel like you're fine, and then you start grappling, and somebody like accidentally hits your thumb, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, that hurts so bad." It's just things you didn't even know were hurt from the fight. Then now you're like, "Oh, I guess I heard that too."
You still have adrenaline, win, mojo, even days and weeks later. So I get it. That Utah place, is that like was it like a dope Airbnb or was it like a hotel? Because like I saw some of it on your IG stories, looked incredible. Looked like literally like you were out in the middle of nowhere. Amazing.
Yeah, it was probably like a couple miles away from National Park of Zion, so it was the middle of nowhere, and it was just a dope Airbnb. It was a tiny house. And I'm like, it was the coolest thing that I've been to in a while. I'm like, it was so dope out there. And just like I think the coolest thing is the stars in the sky when you're away from light. So I'm like, you don't notice how many there are.
Yeah. It's like, it's a natural light. I was just talking off air and I was like, what are we doing? We had like 8 minutes of gold before we hit the record button. So I just got back from the mountains of North Carolina with Hurricane Ian, and we all just left. When you have multiple kids, like you cannot go without power. It's like not even the air condition. It's more of like tablets and Disney Plus and cell phones. If you don't have that and having kids, you are fucked. So we're like, okay, let's get it out of town. We went to Boone, North Carolina, and at night, it's so incredible, even just in the mountains because you are so much higher up. But like you just see the mountain ridge lines and then the trees and then the sky is so incredible. It's like, we take it, I feel like we take it for granted. And when you're in the city or with all these houses, it just doesn't look as good. When you're out in nature, it's amazing. It really is.
Oh yeah, it's completely different when you're out there. And like you said, I remember when I was a kid and I had to go through hurricanes. So I can only imagine how it is to be the parent in that situation. Because I'm like, as the kid, you're sitting there, you're just watching your Game Boy die. You're like, all right, I know I can't charge it. And you're trying to entertain yourself. I remember I had a little TV that had a crank on the side. And it had either the news station or game shows. So I was just sitting there watching The Price is Right for days.
Yeah. And like, they're kids, so like they don't understand what's like really happening. And like I said, even right before we record, like we just know a ton of people that had like just devastating stuff that happened to their house and like how like legitimate it was. And it wasn't even with the winds, it was just it rained in our area for so much and for so long. Just some like real shit happened. Like kids don't get it, you know what I mean? Like they don't understand bills at the end of the month, or they're like, even so we drove, it's a pretty decent drive. And like some of our, like the tablets of the phone would die almost there and they would freak out. I'm like, guys, you just watch Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and like the new She-Hulk episode on Disney Plus. Like, come on, relax a little bit,
I don't know. I get it.
Like, exactly.
Like, I have that same attention span. I couldn't imagine me being trapped in a house or even like driving places I hate. I'm like, I need to do something. I have too much going on up here.
Yeah, I hear you. All right. So that's a little hurricane stuff. That's kind of, I do want to rewind a little bit because we talked that literally an hour after your fight or 2 hours after your fight, and it was awesome. But it's been a couple weeks. Like, put a bow on just that fight in general and what it meant to you, and just even from afar. And I think we talked about it, like the atmosphere with having kind of like let's say the GOAT in your corner just seemed, it was so positive and so fun and so loud. Even it looked different. And I know that might sound crazy, and I don't know if you haven't watched the fight back. It just, you seem different. I just want to kind of, talk about, run us through the apex and your submission victory. Our record kept on going up.
I guess the whole camp was amazing. Being with the new team with the Go Shed, I absolutely I love being there, and I love the support that I have, and I love it. Like that I have I don't know, it's just like a team environment,
Right.
We're always there pushing each other, always holding each other accountable. It's like we don't we lose as a team, we win as a team, and it's it's just a really dope environment they have there. So I'm really thankful for that, and being able to have that walking into this fight. I have watched the fight back. I guess my overall perspective isn't as positive as most people would expect. I'm not really happy with a lot of my performance in this fight. I think my mentality in it was a lot different than my last fights, just walking in a positive way. Like, I feel like I did my confidence was different and it showed, but I also feel like there's just a lot of aspects of it that I'm not necessarily happy with.
Can you, like, do you want to go into like detail with it, or do you not, or do you want to, like, was it like you said, was it just a technique that you're like, fuck, like I'm way better than that and I should know that? Or was it, like you said, it definitely seemed in the first round, Marina definitely kind of kept you off of her, or tried to as best she could, and was getting along. She is super, super long. And, and you said that jab, you knew that jab was coming, multiple times. But like, just watching your fight, and like, I think I've watched it 2 or 3 times now, like, you can see her kind of starting to welt or melt. Like, you just kept coming. Like, you were just one of those, like, my analogy is like, you're just a little dog and you just kept on coming and coming. Like, someone walked in the house and it was just like, okay, I'm going to pick you up now. Like, I'm going to get you sooner or later. Like, you just kept coming, and like, that melts people. We talked about Colby Covington, and I think I said that about you. Like, in a weird way, you do remind me a little bit of Colby Covington. It's like, you kind of use your striking and use your, up to kind of get close to, you want to be in that hug mode. You want to be in that clinch mode. And then sooner or later, you're going to pull them down. Even if you're on the bottom, you're still like in the positive spot. And I think you almost got her one time on the bottom. Am I right? Do I remember that right? Or...
I swept her from the bottom. I took her back once from the bottom as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I guess for me, in general, like, it's definitely a lot to do with nerves and just confidence in general. I felt like my legs were heavy walking out, and I feel like it showed in the fight. I don't think I was moving enough. I don't think I was, my arms, I didn't feel like it. My arms were heavy, but I think it looks like it in the fight. I'm like, I didn't throw a single punch. I'm like, just sitting there. I guess, in a way to be proud of. I was happy with the way that I was able to push the pace and just kind of keep on pushing her, making her work constantly. And obviously she outworked herself to the point she couldn't push a pace anymore. But I just made a lot of, I guess, technical errors. I usually pride myself on a lot of my decision making, and I feel like there were some, I guess, situations where I wasn't making the boldest or the smartest decision. So, but that's also like me very like critical, fine point, looking at a lot of things. I think overall the biggest thing was just my movement and my striking and not making decisions fast enough.
Sure. Well, you did get that rear naked choke. It was like so viral that night, and that day was just so nasty. And, of course, we're rooting so much for you. I sent you that video. My daughter was like, go Gillian. And it's like, we're so happy in the moment, but like, there was a quick little 2-3 seconds, even as me watching, I'm like, I hope she's okay. Like, she just, like, that was a nasty, hard to watch kind of loss on her part. And, no shade, but it was it was nasty. She was not in a good spot. And you told me on air, like after the fight, you're like, dude, she was out for multiple seconds. And like, you were even talking to the ref, like, she is done. She's out. I can feel it. And just crazy shit. Really crazy.
Yeah, as you said, like, whenever she came out in the second round, I honestly, like, the first couple seconds of the second round, I knew it was over. I'm like, I could see it in her eyes that she wasn't the same fighter. You know? Like, she came out, the fighter she was in the first round was a completely different fighter the second round, and I could just see it in her eyes and her demeanor that she wasn't, like, that my next takedown that I shot was going to come a lot easier than my first attempt in the first round. And obviously it did come a lot easier. Honestly, when I had the choke in too, I didn't even have it on her throat at first. I had it on her chin. And I feel like she almost like helped me with it. I feel like, I don't know if it was an intentional thing, but it might have been like a mental thing too. Initially I had it, so I had my arm across her mouth and like kind of across her nose. So I was like smothering her in a way. So I could hear, I knew that I was blocking her breathing in that way, but then I feel like she like kind of pushed her chin up to relieve that and put herself into the choke deeper.
Right. Gosh, that's so sick. Oh my God, that's like the best. We're clipping that. Like that's a post for sure. Gosh, that's crazy. So afterwards, Cloud9, a great just moment I felt like you guys had in the octagon. You're flicking everyone off, of course, and then you got great hugs with the GOAT. You're taking great pictures. Then you went out that night. Now the next day, let's just say you wake up the next day. How are you feeling? Like, where's your mentality at? Are you like, hell yeah, like that's another big win. That's another record. We threw out the, let me leave that. Like, how do you feel the next day, next morning? Where are you at mentally?
I don't know why. Like I said, like how I felt about my performance, the whole, I guess this is a win that I've taken harder than a lot of like my other wins where I'm like, crazy. I haven't been like obviously I'm proud of myself. I'm happy that I got the win. I was happy that I was able to pull that off and finish the fight. But it's just, I don't feel like I put on a performance that was truly me. You know, there's I always say, I'm like, the only two fights that I feel like I've ever been, I performed to the best of my ability at that time. That's who I was at that time. And that's when I fought Molly McCann and when I fought Sarah Froda. Besides those two, I feel like I really haven't just been able to put it 100% together and show like who I am on sparring day every day when I'm at the gym. I want to be able to really put it all together on the big stage and really show what a mixed martial artist I am, who I am in the gym. Because I know that there's a lot of girls who are scared of me in the gym. And there's a lot of girls who are scared of me in the cage. But it's like I need to realize that in my own mind.
We bring up this name so much on this podcast, and we'll keep on bringing it up till it comes true. Like the whole Charles Oliveira aspect of it. And another kind of name that pops in my head is Brendan Allen. I talk to him often, just had him on the pod the week of his fight. And like, I kind of joke with him, even to him about it, but I at least, we talk a lot of betting and a lot of people in MMA, we talk to me and they're like, who do you think's going to win that fight? And like, I said it, honestly, I'm like, Brendan Allen could beat any middleweight on this planet. Like he could beat Izzy, Chimaev, Bo Nickel, whatever you want to say, like whatever the hot middleweight name is. He is that good on the ground. His submission skills are insane. His stand-up is awesome. But then Brendan Allen can lose to the 88th best middleweight in the UFC or even a regional top middleweight guy. Like he just has that roller coaster flow. And we talked about it, and he was like so adamant. Like when I had him on the pod, he's like, I just hope the best me comes because if it does, I know I'm going to get a first round finish. Like I just know my level. He's still only 26, and just like how many fights he's had, like he just knows. And the same thing, like Charles Oliveira, and I don't know if it's like a mentality or a confidence thing or just the right mojo thing, or sometimes you just get on a roll in life, and especially in your profession, you just get on this roll. And like I remember joking with you about it like a year or two ago. I'm like, dude, you do have, to me, a huge winning streak is coming. Like I just know it deep down inside. Like you're going to win 5 in a row. It's happening. Maybe this was the start of it. Like maybe this is the end of 2022, 2023. We're getting 5 in a row. It's happening. Like the best Gillian Robertson, it will just run through any kind of those 20 to 10, like those girls, the girls that you're fighting right now. You're too dominant in one spot, and it's just that's a good spot to be in, I think.
And like I said, I know who I am in the gym is different than who I am in the cage, and it's just trying to find a way to pull that together. And I think I am slowly finding the right mix and just making. I feel like at this point it's just minor adjustments to find the right mix, and maybe finding that right mix at 115 too.
All right, you said it. Finally, I was going to bring this up. It's on my damn list, a permanent black marker. Are we doing this? Or is this do I have to come down to South Florida and be like, all right, Gillian, we're going 115. Well, let me see what's in your cabinets. There's no more. Last time I was there, you had gummies in there. You had a devil dog, I think, in there. No more snacks now. Are we 115?
Yeah. Okay. So as of this week, we're starting the diet.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, that's awesome.
I'm just starting, like, literally right now, I'm starting a diet like I would to 125. So I'm going to be in a fight camp diet right now. And then once I get a date, hopefully with a good camp, I'm going to start getting on an even stricter diet. So right now I'm just going to get into, like, the general mojo of eating healthy kind of, and making sure that I'm losing weight. These last couple weeks have been kind of rough on that. I've been keeping my scale in my living room because it's just every night we've been seeing how high I can get it.
See, you get it. I get it. There you go. Good wordplay too, by the way. Like, so a Savage 115, is it like you kind of just mentioned it 3 times? You said that word. Is it just diet? Is that like the main thing you have to do? Do you think there's more cardio? Is it, I know you've never been like a big weight person. You never want to like kind of put on bulk. You know what I mean? Your fight, you did look pretty shredded. Just throwing that out there. You look pretty shredded when you did that. Is it about just diet to get to 115, or is there other obstacles in the way or other little tweaks you have to make?
It's definitely going to be diet and cardio.
Okay.
To get down to 125, I have a fairly strict diet, but not 100% strict. So it's like usually I would say up until like the week out, I'm kind of bullshitting on what I eat on weekends. I eat what I want to on the weekend, and then all week long I'll eat clean and eat healthy. And then say like 2 weeks out, I have to do I'll eat 2 weeks straight clean, no bullshitting on the weekends, and then I'll make it just fine. But to make 115, it's gonna be a very strict diet. We're definitely gonna add a lot of cardio, probably daily, maybe like multiple times a day, depending on where we're at, how close it is, what's happening. But it's I want to do it as smoothly as possible. I want to make it so I'm not cutting I'm cutting as little water weight as possible.
Right.
So it's like I've been walking around 132 when I've been in camp and doing that diet of pretty much eating healthy in the week and eating what I want on weekends. So it's like just getting stricter on that. I feel like I'll be able to walk closer to 25 and then like get the water weight off after that.
Kind of a question that I don't think I've ever asked you. We never really talked about it before. So what was a horrible weight cut of, damn, Dave, like that night before, even at 125, and I know you're actually really close to it, like maybe even before kind of this last kind of 8 fights or 6 fights in the UFC, have you had a horrible kind of weight cut one time? You're like, all right, screw that. Like I'm a 125er. I'm going to be more smart about 132, 133. Have you had one of those, or have you been all right?
If we throw it back to amateur days, I had one absolutely terrible weight cut where I like, when you're an amateur, you literally, I feel like, I don't know why they always come from wrestling. I feel like there's so many like myths of wrestling. Like you got to do this and you got to eat this and you got to wear, like whatever it is. Like, I feel like there's a million myths, and that's what I used to cut weight, which wasn't a smart thing.
Right.
So I'm just going off of like all this bullshit that I know. And then after that, so I had a fight. It was like a couple weeks notice. I wanted to take another fight 2 weeks before that because it was just amateur fights. It was like whatever.
Yeah.
But the fight that I had in like 6 weeks or whatever, it was supposed to be for my friend's promotion. So he was like, no, come on, you can't do that to me. You can't take a fight 2 weeks out from the day you're supposed to be on my promotion just in case like you get injured, whatever. So he ended up finding another fight for me. Mitchell Chamale with Combat Night offered it to him. And
I'm literally wearing the shirt today. I didn't even get that until
Planned it perfectly.
Yeah.
But
there you go. That's our Mitchell pub. There you go, Mitch. There you go.
But Mitchell contacted him and offered him a fight for me on 10 days notice at this time at 105. So I remember sitting at Tropical Smoothie, having like my wrap in hand, my smoothie there, and just thinking, I was 122 at the time. And I'm like, this is my last meal right now.
Oh my! What kind of wrap was it?
Was it the Jamaican jerk chicken wrap?
Cool. Those are so good. Those are so good. God, tropical smoothie. What kind of smoothie? What was the smoothie?
I don't even remember that now. Probably a Bahama Mama. That's usually my go-to. It has white chocolate in it, everything.
Yeah, those are good
like,
too.
I cut 17 pounds in 10 days.
Jeez.
And I did it like pretty much by starving myself. I didn't water load, which I'm like, anything that I know about weight cutting now, I did the exact opposite. And I remember,
was it a crazy sauna night the night before? Is that what it was?
It was a crazy sauna night, and then I had to drive to Jacksonville with sweats on and the sauna suit on, still sweating on the way to weigh-ins. And I remember she was local in Jacksonville, and she was an hour late for weigh-ins, and they wouldn't let me weigh in until she got there. And I'm like, you're kidding me.
Do you have that girl blocked on your socials?
We're actually good friends now, but
there you go. That sounds about right. That's the Gillian Savage way. Like any dude, Molly, best friends, Hannah, Goldie, best friends. Just if you fight, you guys are besties. That's it. That's how it works.
Exactly.
Gosh, crazy. Like we said, I got so many more things for you, but we'll keep it for next week. I do the last kind of fun thing. December 3rd, they are fighting in Orlando, Florida at the Amway. They added 2 fights recently to it. And I do feel like there's kind of 2 spots left on the card, 2, maybe 3. Everything I'm hearing is because they made Brunson versus Hermanson like 2 months ago, a month ago, whatever. And everyone thinks that's kind of the main event. It is a fight night, and I'm not trying to. It could be the main event. Let's just say that. Like, there's a fight next weekend, which is a main event, which is absolutely crazy. So Brunson, Hermanson literally could be the main event. But I'm here because it's at the Amway. They love Orlando. They're really trying to find like a high-level main event. A big rumor is Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev. That could happen. That could be awesome. But then I feel like there's 2 more spots. I don't know how. I know you're very close to Orlando and Fusion. We do think Phil Rowe is going to be on that card. I've heard 2 names that could be a possible against him. So there's like 1 spot left on this card, and how much? And I know you've thrown Instagram stories out there. Are you in any talks? Is there any legitimate to it? Are you, or right now, are you just kind of like hoping to get on it? And can that be the debut of Strawweight Savage?
So far, the talks are that card's full.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, and I'm assuming the spots just aren't announced, whoever it is that has them. But I've been trying hard to get on that card, and that's what they're telling us is that it's full at the moment.
Yeah.
We're talking about January, February for my return currently. Okay. So, hopefully looking around there, but I would have loved to get on that card. I'm going to try to go there no matter what. I want to try to be there watching the fights. I think that's going to be a dope event to be at no matter what. But,
I was just going to say that if you don't fight on that card, we have to like do something. You have to like come out to it. We have to like, especially with all of our ties in Orlando, I would love to like try to set up something around there or even at the Amway or something close. I think it'd be super dope to do like some kind of Fight Bananas thing at the event. I'm pretty pumped about it.
Yeah, no, I would definitely be down to go. I'm going to be trying to get tickets as soon as possible. I'm like, that's it. Honestly, it's just cool to be on the outside of the cage sometimes. It's cool to be at the event.
It is. Like you said, we talked about it. With me, like going to so many different events and then covering, like when I go to the PFL, like, and people don't understand, like, we don't watch the fights. Like you're working it. Like it's so hard. Like, of course you kind of are watching the fights, but like you're running back and forth to the media room and you're doing media questions and the next fight's about the beginning. It's hard as hell. So when Taylor fought just last month and she was the main event, like I just was like, no, I'm going for that. Like, I'm just going to enjoy it. Maybe I had a couple drinks. Maybe I had some other stuff. It was just good to like enjoy the night and then watch the fights. I'm like, dude, I haven't done this in ages. Like, this is awesome. And then, this commentary is hard as fuck to be on a live mic for like 3 or 4 straight hours. And it's just like, you're watching the fights, but you are working. It's like a totally different thing. But just to kind of go and chill would be pretty awesome. Pretty.
Imagine my point of view. Usually, I gotta go in there and get elbowed in the face.
I know, man.
Like it's nice to just be able to watch it happen. I feel like there is nothing more stressful though than watching your friends fight. If it's someone you know or someone you're close with, it's just like I feel like I was the fighter in there. It's like, all right, if I need to make an adjustment, I know I need to do this, or I know I need to do this, or I can figure it out. When you're watching your friend, you're like, why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they throwing the jab? Yeah. Why aren't they doing this? You're like freaking out on the outside.
What would be more stressful? Three things. Being live. I kind of just happened. Let's just throw this out there. Hannah Goldie fighting a really big, 125 fight. That you commentary in like you're the Laura Sanko role for the Contender Series. You're doing live mic on air, commentating, going back, interviewing the fighters, or you fighting Carla Esparza for the 115 championship.
Oh, that's a tough one. I'm like, honestly, like, because when Hannah fought last time, I felt like I fought. I'm like, that one put me through it. I'm sitting there nervous as anything, wanting to, like, having tears in my eyes, But obviously going through, I don't know, thinking about the belt, like, that's just a big opportunity. And of the thought of getting into a fist fight, honestly, I think the Laura Sanko thing scares me more than the fist fight. I'm like, going into the cage and doing interviews and stuff, I would be dripping sweat.
Oh my gosh. I knew it. There you go. Like you're like, bring on Carla Esparza. Like, come on, let's get it. Did you watch Dern and non-fight last week?
It's kind of went exactly how I expected to. I'm like,
me too. I picked non. Like I felt like I was on this island, was the only one. I'm like, dude, guys, we all know if this fight stands up for 5 rounds, like she's gonna win these, stages. And even if Dern gets her down, and she did, like one round literally for 4 minutes and 55 seconds had her, I was impressed with not getting submitted, but I know she lost a round, but the other round she won. Like I thought it was pretty easy fight this is what's going to happen.
Everybody always talks about like Mackenzie Dern working on her striking and her striking improving and looking better. But I'm like, work on your wrestling. I'm like, work on getting the fight to the ground.
Right.
Badass black belt, like terrifying jujitsu,
fucking
great grappler, but has no way to get it down there. I'm like, and honestly, if she did invest like a lot of time into like a good wrestling camp, stop talking.
Don't tell her this. That like you versus Dern is the summer of 2023, Gillian. This is happening.
Honestly, I was looking at. I'm like, she only has 4 submissions on currently for the UFC, so I'm like, to break the record for the strawweights wouldn't be like too hard. And I already have it for the flyweights.
Wait. We have them for the flyweights.
We have it. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to leave you out.
Come on. We're God. That video keeps creeping up. I thought we destroyed it. I thought that tape was like gone forever, that choke. But every time you win or something happens or fight announcement, that fight, a birthday thing comes up, and that video somehow it just keeps on reappearing. But like I'm being serious. Like I was just joking with you, but like I really do see if you go down to 115, like 1 or 2 in a row, like you and Dern is a legit possibility. Like 2023 at the end of the year, kind of like what they just fought. Like you guys, you went 2 strawweight fights in a row. That would make a 3-fight win streak overall for you. And they love Dern and they love her being on the poster. That would be dope. You versus Dern as a fight night main event.
No, that'd be an awesome opportunity to. I really expect Dern to be across the. I expected it a long time ago. Honestly, I feel like I'm surprised that something like that, because she was debating like a 125 move up. I know she missed weight by like 7 pounds or something before at 15. Yeah. So I'm like, at that time, like I thought something like that was gonna happen. So it's a matchup I've been ready for and I've been waiting for, and I'd love to have.
And then I think that night I showed this picture, and another thing I showed it as well. So like this is my, got all these pictures up in the studio. Oh, let me do that. There you go. So what I finally did, I'm like, dude, this picture's like super old. Like, I don't know if you remember, it's the one we did the podcast a long time ago. And I'm like, dude, we have so many good ones from Island fights. We have the good one from that Anthony Pettis one. So last week They haven't came in. Yeah, I think maybe the hurricane, maybe slowed down mail. I like ordered 12 like legit great pictures I have. And so I got a new Gillian Robertson picture coming in the mail, like coming in.
Good. I'm like, it's about time we update it.
Oh, this 2019. I don't know. Crazy. Yeah, there's so much more, but we'll get into it next week because this weekend there's no UFC, there's no Bellator. Our girl Elle Wagman fights on UFC Fight Pass Friday night for FAC. She's a monster. She's trying to become 6-0. She's fighting for 115 for the first time too. She's always a 105er, and she really wants to stay at 105. But if she's right there, she is high level. She trains at American Top Team. If she's going to go to that next step, it's going to only kind of be one, or unless PFL does something crazy. But I think she's trying out 115. I keep on joking to her. I'm like, come on now, 115. She's still young. Like, she's only going to get bigger the more time too you put on your body. But I'm intrigued. I'm excited for that. That's Friday night. But yeah, we'll roll. We did it. Yeah, crazy. Any last things? Any kind of
just hype that's episode 20.
I know, number 20.
20 done.
20 in the books. It's crazy. I think we do it again. I love doing our Instagram stuff. It's like, it's different. It's a different vibe. And it's like with all the people kind of coming in, asking questions, it kind of takes its own life. So maybe next week we'll do an IG live, but it's crazy. Yeah, we also on Fight Bananas, like out of nowhere over like the last 4 or 5 months, like on Instagram especially, it's just been really good. I think we have like 56,000 now. And I always thought you had to I just always assumed like the blue check just comes like in the mail or when you're sleeping, it just came in. Everyone's like, no, you have to like ask for it or you have to like apply for it. So I'm like, oh shit. So we just did that like a couple of days ago. So I don't know. Maybe, who knows? Maybe Fight Bananas is going to get that magic blue check. We'll see.
We'll see. Hopefully soon enough.
Yeah, we'll see. And then like, dude, if we get the blue check, our DMs, that's it. We're going for it.
It's done. It's done.
It's done. Awesome. All right, we'll go have this amazing outro. We have to add to it. I got to call my guy to add a certain submission victory that just happened a couple weeks ago. It's wild. It's been 2.5 weeks now.
Yeah, almost 2.5. Yeah.
Yeah, I looks all right. I looks good.
Yeah, I still have like a little bump there. It wasn't too bad. Just I feel like there was the huge lump the night of. And then all that lump just drained down into my eye. So this eye was black for a while there, but all good. I went into the fight with a pretty bad rib injury, so I'm still dealing with that. And that's the only thing that is like really like hold me back in any way. But other than that, I'm good.
And the ribs suck. Like
exactly.
I hear like the worst thing about ribs. Like if you could have a arm or a hand or a finger, like you kind of deal with it, or you can whatever go away, like the ribs, like anything, like fuck, that sucks.
Yeah, it's
definitely
right,
we're going on 35 minutes. We'll go for hours. Guys, Gillian the Savage Robertson, UFC record holder. Hopefully we'll see her soon in the strawweight division. Dave Van Auken, Mic Cuddles, episode 20 is officially in the books. We're gonna have this awesome outro. We'll see you guys later. Maybe IG live next week. IG live.